Hi everyone, this is Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy. Today got a special video. This is the first video in a set playlist that I'm gonna create and trying to talk with clients about their experiences with velocity banking as a concept. How did they get here? What did they found to be interesting? Some of the challenges and their particular thoughts on how we can work together to help them in general. So I'm going to start with Miss J and just interview her and ask her some basic questions. All right. Miss J, what region of the country are you in?
I'm in the southern region.
All right.
East Coast.
And how long you lived in the South?
Pretty much all my life, really.
Mhm.
So I've never been. I have traveled to other areas of the country, but not lived there.
Mhm. And what type of work have you done?
I have actually did case management, worked for the government, did a little teaching.
Hmm.
So now I'm retired.
Okay, that's awesome. How are you liking retirement?
I'm loving it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You got more money than month or more month than money?
Well, it seems like up until now, the months have been more than the money.
Uh-huh.
So I'm working on changing my thought pattern, my
Hmm.
mindset.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, how did you come across velocity banking?
Well, yeah, going back to more month than money, I started actually going on Googling,
Hmm.
looking at how to pay things off, because traditionally I always thought we'll just add extra money to each bill. And I noticed that I wasn't moving as fast as I wanted to move. So I started Googling and then I went to YouTube. And that's how I came across Velocity Banking. I originally saw how to pay off a house in
Hmm.
five to 7 years. And I said, well, okay. And that led me to Velocity Banking because
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to be able to not only pay off the mortgage, but also my regular credit card debt.
So initially, your desire to pay off the mortgage is what started you down your path, and then you came across velocity banking, through the idea of paying down your mortgage, 5 to 7 years.
Right.
Okay. And how did that go? What's been your education on trying to pay down the mortgage in 5 to 7 years?
Well, I heard things like accelerated
Hmm.
banking.
Accelerated banking. Uh-huh.
Yes. And from there, I said, well, it kind of led me into velocity banking because it looked at paying off mortgage and
Hmm.
paying off credit debt
Hmm.
by using your own money.
Yes.
And so it pulled me in. So I
Hmm.
started looking at so many YouTubes and so many videos on it.
Now, when you said so many, so how many hours do you think you've invested in to down this rabbit hole of velocity banking?
It's almost became like a full-time job.
Uh-huh.
And so it's just like I get up in the morning and pretty much grab a cup of coffee and then it was like I was at work.
Okay.
And I was trying to learn so much about it, listen to different
Hmm.
individuals and just trying to absorb exactly how it actually works.
Hmm. So up to this point now, how would you describe or define what is velocity banking?
That's a good question. I would say it's a method of accelerating your payoffs by
Mhm.
using the money you get anyway and putting it on your credit card in order to lower the interest, to keep the interest low.
All right. So the money you're already making, nothing extra,
Nothing extra.
then doing what with it?
Instead of putting it in your bank account, you put the money on the credit card and use the credit card as your account, as
Okay.
your checking account.
All right. So it's initially going to hit the bank for now in the
Right.
beginning. And then after that, it does what?
You transfer the money onto the credit card.
Okay. Okay. And once it hits the credit card, in your understanding, what's next?
My understanding that whatever payment that's due on that credit card is satisfied immediately.
Okay.
And also, you reduce the balance, thereby reducing the interest.
And that helps, or it could help.
Yes, it helps because if it was reversing the money just depositing in the bank,
Mhm.
then you're waiting for the due date to pay that payment, and its interest is still up higher all that
Mhm.
time, plus the balance is not gonna reduce.
Okay. So what have you found so far? What are some of the actions you have taken so far with us understanding the velocity banking as you've kind of described it?
Well, I'm still fairly new to it,
Hmm.
but the main thing I'm trying to look at, it make me focus more on what my bills are, what my expenses, and what money I just been paying frivolously, I guess, out.
So you're focusing a little bit more on your bills. You're looking a little bit more at your expenses. And what was that third item?
Cash flow.
Cash flow.
Yeah.
And what would you define as cash flow? Or what do you mean in terms of cash flow?
Well, I learned that is the amount of money you get per month,
Hmm.
and you subtract your expenses for that month. And I'm trying to add everything in as far as expenses. And then after that, the remaining is your cash flow.
Now, some the challenge has been around rent and mortgage. Are you kind of looking at that, working with that? When you say you're adding all your expenses. So have you been able to look at doing your rent? Do you have a mortgage or a rent?
Mortgage.
Okay. Um, and you've kind of looked at how it can be paid using the velocity banking concept.
Right. And as well as paying off other debts.
Okay. And how's that aspect going? Just looking at the mortgage and it can be paid through the velocity banking process method.
It's going good from what I'm learning. Yeah.
Hmm.
That is something that can be done.
Hmm. Have you talked to anyone else, like your friends or family, about velocity banking?
Not I kind of glossed over it, but I
Uh-huh.
want to be the example for them to see, because a lot of time people will not, they say, no, my money go to the bank and then I pay out, or I write a check.
Mhm.
So I want to show them real time examples on myself, just for them to get the concept and see that it actually do work.
Okay, and now that we're working together, let's just look at just your basic numbers as we've kind of just tried to conceptualize or see where you're at. Um, income wise, what would you say you're bringing in a month?
About 35.
Are you on any type of fixed income?
Yes,
All right. And what would you say your expenses?
I would say about 31.
31. So that'd give you a cash flow of what?
About 400.
400. Now, one of the principles of velocity banking is starting with a positive cash flow. When I started, I think I was 2,500 negative coming into velocity banking. I had to tighten up in terms of trying to right my ship. So you're definitely in a better position than I am. All right, that's awesome. And you think this $400 a month can help you with this idea of velocity banking?
That's my hope. Yeah.
You're on a positive side, so that's a good. Now, if you had to come up with one goal, what is the one goal that you hope to achieve?
To pay off a zero out a credit card.
Say it again.
Zero out a credit card.
Zero out a credit card.
Mhm.
Do you have a credit card now? Yes, that's the goal, and that's good because the goal is something that's broad that we want to address. Now, SMART goals are those that are specifically targeted, attainable, achievable. So I like that you said zero out a credit card. So that means we can select one credit card and start working the velocity banking principle, velocity banking and accelerated banking in general, um, to try to work on that. Okay, zero out a card. Do you have a balance in mind?
5,000.
All right. Now, in general, I sometimes see on statements like, um, if you just pay the minimum, it's going to take 13 years. If you pay a certain amount, you can do it in about 3 years. So we definitely can look at whatever card is close to this. Look at the 13 year and 3 or 4 year, narrow down a number and let that be our base number that we want to work for to try to see, hey, does velocity banking work? And that would be, I think, in working with you, our target. That'll give us something specifically that we can say, okay, I've been working with you for a year. Where are we at in terms of zeroing out this card? Some of the things that I like to do also, as on my business side, I have a couple of rental properties. I'm also looking at, I think from my videos, you may have seen the HELOC. So that's also something that I have in the back of my mind to help my clients understand the pay down their debt rather quickly. Have you seen the HELOC video?
I've seen some things on HELOC.
Mhm. Now, the HELOC is a home equity line of credit, and that's further down the line, but that's definitely some of the things that I can look at just in working with us and trying to see, okay, what are some of the more effective, efficient strategies we can use to help you move in general from the $400 in cash flow to definitely more cash flow. in terms of general. So how do you feel about your overall debt that you have going? Yeah, your overall debt. What do you feel about your debt? Um, what's your perception?
Well, I would like to have less debt
Mhm.
so I
Okay.
can actually possibly get into the HELOC.
Uh-huh.
Um, Overall, it's exciting that I can use my own money to
Hmm.
actually clear up debt without going out trying to find a job
Hmm.
or
That's that's a great point about velocity banking.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Um, what about the idea of living below your means or being frugal? Do you think you're living below your means, at your means, a little bit above your means in terms of we see that as $400? Where do you see you think you see yourself? Frugal, above your means, or you're just right there?
I say between frugal and right at my means, not above.
Hmm.
I think I got a little bit leeway, but I wanted to have more cash flow so to do more things and maybe to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Additional cash flow would definitely help with that. So yeah, I'm super excited to work with you. I'm glad you're able to find velocity banking. Now there are a lot of different things that's being said about the velocity banking, and we can talk about those things as because you're going to be watching a lot of videos. Do you see any contradictions between maybe different camps or different groups looking at velocity and saying that okay, it's something, but something's not right? Or yeah, there's potential here as a newcomer to it. Do you see maybe some contradictions in the videos? Some things that puzzle you between what's being said by one group or one camp and then what's being said by another? Do you get any of that as a
Yes,
newcomer?
yes, I do. Because I was looking at videos from showing different angles of velocity banking to saying that no, you should do something else.
Hmm.
And they was some was highly against it. But what puzzled me is that if you using your own money, how can you not reduce some things?
Hmm.
And I want to try something different from just paying a monthly payment.
Hmm.
Because if you pay on some of these cards, if you paid just the minimum, it takes years,
Uh-huh.
or maybe I should say decades.
Yes. So there's those that are critical, and then there are those velocity advocates, and then there are the middle. So definitely coming in and being new, there are some questions and could be some confusion. Definitely, there's a lot of videos. I started in December of 2023. So yes, I've watched a number of videos in general, and I've actually got in specifically. Now, getting into a little bit more of the nitty gritty, since we specifically have done some of the work in aspects of velocity banking, what do you think so far? What are some of your thoughts from where you were in the beginning a couple of weeks ago to at least where you're at now in working with me?
I have gotten more comfortable with using my money and putting it on the card than I was before.
Uh-huh.
Because I thought, why would I put all my money on one card? But I see where that can actually zero out that card and then I can move to another debt.
Okay.
And so it has and then when I saw your videos and you was really extremely transparent, that helped a lot.
Too transparent. My wife, my old lady, like, calm down. I don't know what you're doing, but calm down. Yeah, she was definitely a little bit like, okay, you're doing a little too much in general. But yeah, so I like the point of that you can kind of see now where putting your money on the card, there's potential. You did have some concerns. What were some of your concerns about putting your income on the card and just letting it kind of like sit there to pay bills?
What if I need some of the money?
Uh-huh.
What am I do?
Emergency,
Um,
emergency.
what if I put the money on the card and they don't accept the card? Then
Okay,
what? You know.
that's definitely all right. And how you feel about those things now, particularly in an emergency, having an emergency money to the side seems like it definitely has been important.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, you can pretty much you can have some money to the side for emergency, you know, but also you can use the card.
Hmm.
The card is accepted, you know, the major cards is accepted at everywhere, you know.
Hmm.
So you can use that as a means. But, you know, it's always good to have some of a cushion if need be. If you're just starting out, because you got to get past the whole mind concept of just putting your money in the bank in a
Hmm.
checking account.
So in looking back and thinking about individuals that are in your position, just starting off just like you were a couple of weeks ago, what would be two lessons learned or advice or recommendations that you would make to those individuals who are just out starting out and getting there?
First, I would say give it a try.
Hmm.
If you feel uncomfortable putting all of your money, put as much as you can handle. So
All
if
right.
you wanted to just test the system and then look at what's been going on up to now. Because sometimes you pay forever and it's just like you either close to the limit or you go down and go back up. And then by the time you do get it down, the companies will just reduce your limit sometime.
Hmm. That has happened to you?
Not, I've heard of it
Okay.
happening to people, but not me personally.
All right. Well, those are definitely two good points. So thank you very much. One of the things that I like to say, that surprised me when I came across, when Miss J came across me, we went to the same school. So this is my first client from the same, university, Savannah State University in Georgia, very first one. So I'm super excited, to have another Tiger aboard, my first Tiger. So thank you
Right.
very much for, coming aboard.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
I'm glad I found your video.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by. This has been Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy. I am a political economist. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial planner. I am a political economist who generally looks at the interaction between politics, government, and the economy, and which groups win and sometimes which group loses. But with my experience with velocity banking, I've been just taking my experience, put it on the web, and just trying to understand this concept of velocity banking and how it could be a positive change. So again, thank you, Ms. J, and everyone else. You know how to contact me if you would like to be a client or if we can work together or if you have some basic questions. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.